Okay, we're going to look at adding some titles and other things that we can add in the project panel. So if we right mouse click in the project panel, you'll see new item. Now you can include and add lots of other things in here. You can add different sequences. If you're working on something that's very short, you probably might only need one sequence, but you can have a number of different sequences, and this is how you can change your setup. But idealistically, if you're just using just one, that would be fine. You can also have adjustment layers, very similar like you'd have in Photoshop, where you can test things out and they don't mess around with the actual footage. You can put titles in here. Some of them are quite basic and simple. You can bring in other design work from something like a Photoshop file and have them in there, but you can actually animate and have them scrolling like you would do with titles. Probably if you want to get in more complicated stuff, you probably use Adobe After Effects, but it's good for basic stuff. Bars and tone are sort of the color banding bars and tone bars and grayscale bars that you use for calibrating monitors. And it has bars there that are normal ones, and also it has high definition bars because they can pick up more color. Black video is just putting in a blank bit of black video. Sometimes you might want that in between your footage. So it can put lots of different things in, and we'll just look at the first one. We'll go for bars and tone. Like mostly if you're not doing HD, you just go for bars and tone here. Otherwise go for high definition bars and tones. When it comes up, it sniffs out the default settings that you've set up your sequence at, and that's fine, and I just okay that. Now once I'm in here, it'll put this little clip here, bars and tones, and I would just drag it to my footage, and this is how it works. It's got all the different tones, and if you went on a monitor, you'd mess around with your contrast and your color until all these were visible. Also, it's got a little sound clip on there as well, so sometimes it's quite common that you see that footage at the beginning of a film or a clip. Okay, so I'll just get rid of this, bring in something else, right mouse click, import new, black video I'll bring in. Okay, click on that, and it just again brings in a little bit of black footage that you can put or add to your film anywhere. You can edit that down and extend it. That might be useful for putting in gaps. Okay, back again, new item. This time I will go down and I will click on universal counting leader. You click on that, again it brings up the default settings so it matches it, and you've probably seen these quite a lot. It's just a countdown that starts. You can actually change it and customize it here. It can have a blip when it finishes, and we'll give it a go. Okay, so here we have it. I'll drag it to my timeline and the sequence here, and this is what it does. Okay, now what you can do is you can come along here and you can just get to some point such as here, and if it's something simple that you might want this on, I can cut that with the razor and then delete that off and move it along, and in this case now it only has just those counters as it counts down. Again, you might need it. It's up to you. That's just a starting point where it counts in. Right, now I'll just get rid of that, and we're going to look at titles. So we click here in the project panel and we go new item, and this time I'm going to go for title. Again, it wants to match. Now you can give these a name, so you can come along and say intro, because that can be the introduction. You can have lots of different titles, ending titles, beginning titles. Now when it comes in, you've got this special window panel that appears here. How it's structured is you've got your tools down the side. There's lots of text tools. There's pen tools for drawing shapes. There's lots of shapes on there that you find in any design work. Down the bottom you can align, center, and distribute. Down the bottom there's a number of presets. Big problem with the presets is they can be a little bit tacky. They've got drop shadows, but you may have a use for them, but they're just presets. You might just want to create simple text yourself. Up at the top, we've got some different functions. First one is here, once you created a title, sometimes you want to slightly amend it and copy it and duplicate it and amend another one. So that's what you would do. You would create a new title based on your current one. This one here, the roll and the crawl, that's for when you have titles coming up at the beginning or the end, as is quite common. You see in movies where things come from the bottom of the screen and rolling list of credits. Okay, up at the top, you've got selection of fonts, all the things you find in designer word processing, bold, up the text. You can change line spacing and leading, center. Also, you can switch this on to make it transparent, the background. Down at the side, these are all the properties. That way you can amend things, change the font sizes, lots of control over there, but you might be doing something quite simple. So once we got that, you would type in a title, or you can cut and paste from another program. Now, once you've got that, you don't need to highlight it and make it bigger. All you can do is click on the select tool up at the top and hold the shift key and drag out, and you just make it bigger or smaller. Now you'll see in this panel here, there's the whole screen, which is the edge. Then it has one white line, which means the picture safe area, and then also has the inner square, which is title safe. And what happens if people have smaller monitors or squarer monitors or not widescreen monitors? If your titles went right across the edge of the screen, this would mean they would probably get cut off. Now, sometimes cutting off a bit of the picture, that's not that important, might be all right, but definitely not cutting off text. And this is also very important if you have text going across the bottom, like they do in news channels. That's really crucially important because they'll lob off both the left and the right. So make sure whatever your design work fits inside the inner square. Now up here you can move it around and you'll see the X and Y dimensions will be up here, and also you can customize them as well. You can rotate. Also you can rotate with the tool over here, so there's lots of duplications. Also you can set the fonts from here as well as at the top. So there's lots of different things you can do. Once you've got that, you can select that text and you can change its color. So we can go down here and I can change its color to another color. Right, now if you want to center it, I'll get the select tool at the top. Down at the bottom you can center it so it's central vertically and also horizontally if that's what you wish, or just move it to a position you feel comfortable with. Now if we turn this off, it will turn off the background and on. We'll leave it on for the time being, and sometimes if you've got two monitors you can move this out of the way. Now my clip is living down here. Now I can drag it up and I'll put it on video 2, and we've got this here which will come across. So that's selected on there. Now if I bring in another little bit of footage, I'll bring this in, put it on here. Here's my footage. You'll see it's able to see through it, so you can set it up to do, mostly it's to do with, also you can change the opacity here, or you can go back to the clip, and when you want to edit the clip in any way you want, you can move it, say up here like that. It shows you how it's overlaying, and then I can come back here and it's moved it up. So you can actually see how you're changing the thing, but mostly you've got to go back to the panel and move it around. You can make it a bit longer like that. Also you can have it moving along and you put the clip, move it down like that, bring it along, and then you can do some effects on it. So you could have something like a transition, which will come along here. So we go to video transitions and you have something like dip to black, and you can put in between those two there, and when we play that it comes along and then it dips out from the black screen, or we can overlay it. So if you want to amend the text and do something else with it, we'll go back here and double click on it. Now the other things you can actually do with it, I'll just basically just get rid of my footage down here. Okay, get rid of that, bring it back up here. Right, now what we can do is you can do some other actions on here. So you can change the color and do lots of things, but what you can do is go to crawl and roll, and you can leave it on still, or you can have it roll. And what a roll does, it sort of can come along. So we'll look at the first roll, which is start off screen. So we click on that and click OK. I'll just move this out of the way. Now if I play it, okay, I'm just rendering it up so it'll work a little more quickly by pressing return. And now it does this. Yeah, it comes up here. If I stop that and say bring this in a little bit, and then I come back here, I'll just render it up again so it works a little bit more quickly. And there we go. So you shorten the bar and it'll just speed up. So that's starting off screen. If we come back now and go back to the crawl and roll, this time we're going to say start off screen and end off screen and see what happens. So we've got those two things. Here we are here. I'll just quickly render it up so it works a little bit more quickly. And then you'll see it goes like that, which is the titles quite common that you will see. Right. So when I come back here, what I can do is say, for example, I could have lots of other bits of text underneath. So if I just keep on placing these on here, press return, press return, press return, press return, and keep on pasting lots of those on there, and it's still appearing on and off the screen. Now if I just move my panel out of the way, I will hit return to render it up so it works a little bit more quickly, and there you go. That's very similar to what you see in an ending credits. If we drag this out a little bit more now, and again I press return to render it up a bit, obviously it's a bit longer, so it's taken a little bit more time to render it up. Once you've got that, you'll see it will work more slowly. Okay, should stop that down. Then I'll come back over here. I will this time, I'll just get rid of some of these and place these up. I'll put this back with the selection tool in the center and just use the center points to get it all lined up. I can use another one. So if I go back on, see roll and crawl, I can crawl left and start on and off screen. If I uncheck end off screen and I click on there, and I just see how that works. Again, I'll need to bring in this to make it a little bit more shorter, and I'll just render it up, and that should do it quite quickly, and it comes in from the side. Right. Now what happens is you'll see it flash off. So if you want it to stay static, we're going to do this. So we had our first one here, and if we go up here, new title based on current slide, and we click here. Now you give it another name. I could say intro still, so it's going to stay still. We click there. Now once we've done that, I need to make sure in roll and crawl I do say still, and I click OK to that. Now I'll move that out of the way. Now it's put it here, so all I do is I just drag this up here. I can make it a little bit longer, and this time we'll see what happens. It comes in and then it stays there with the still image, right? And then once we've got that, then we can come along and then maybe add some other footage to there. So how that works is we start here, it comes in, it stays still, and then it moves into our footage. Okay, right. So that's just some ways of doing titles. Very, very simple. We've looked in another screencast tutorial how you would bring in graphic elements that you've made in something like Photoshop. So you can use a mixture of either. Main things with titles is really keep them simple. If you want something a little bit more flashy, I guess you need to try and make your elements in After Effects. But ideally, if you want to keep it really simple, Premiere offers you really, really good stuff in the titles panel. And also, if you want to have some unique graphics, then create them as PNGs in Photoshop at the right screen dimensions to match your 1080p or 720 high def screens.